Welcome to the first 2022 Council Clubs meeting. So here's a quick overview of our agenda. We're going to do some regular announcements. I'm going to do a few more endorsement reminders because we've gotten a lot of questions and a lot of things have come up. Hopefully it will only take a few minutes, and then we'll go into our of the year presentations and then our vote. So I just want to see if we have any new clubs or club leaders or anyone that wants to introduce themselves. If you do, you can go ahead and raise your hand in the participants tab now. And if not, then we will move forward. All right. Oh, Barbara. Yeah, go ahead, Barbara.
Hi, I'm Barbara Soulier. I'll be attending these meetings for Alan Jirashi, our new president. I'm the vice president, so I'm taking over that duty.
Great. And Danny, I see your hand raised. We do have candidate announcements at the end if that's what you were going for. So we'll move forward with that. I don't know. I don't think Will's on here. I have Deborah and do I have Michelle on here? I feel like I saw Michelle join. I'm going to go ahead. Deborah, if you want, you should be able to unmute. But I saw Michelle.
Hello, Sandy. I hope everyone's doing well this morning. It's raining here in Mission Viejo.
Wow.
Wasn't expecting that. So, lots to go over, and I'll try to be as concise as possible. As you know, the pre-endorsement conference going to be held Saturday, May 12th across the state at different times. They'll be staggered. There's 2 forms that all clubs need to get to their regional directors, whether it's me or Michelle. And I have sent out 2 emails actually with that information, but make sure you get the form and the roster complete. Do not worry so much about the current districts. That doesn't really matter. Just make sure you have their addresses and phone numbers and emails for your club reps. These are potential club reps, and why I'm saying that is because the state will once again check to make sure people are still registered as Democrats before they officially will be club reps. Everyone is going to get mailed their ballot about 2 weeks before the pre-endorsement conference. They'll get emailed, they'll get a US mail. And I recommend doing it by email because it's all going to go to the regional directors and the state. And that way it's time-stamped and dated, and you have proof that they received it. Then the pre-endorsement conference will go as basically as it used to, even though it's virtual. I will read the rules. People will then that are running for the different 80s and Senate districts and congressional districts will be given time to give a speech before that. And and then after each race, we will tally up what the percentages are for everyone to determine whether or not they've been endorsed. Anything 70 or above, they're endorsed. 50 to 70%, they're endorsed, but someone can challenge them at convention. Below 50, there will be a no endorsement. I'm having a meeting on next Thursday, the 20th, from 6:30 to 8:30. I will go into more detail about the meeting and what's expected for the pre-endorsement conference. And for those who are going to convention, I will give them more information because people can start registering now for convention. Just make sure you read all the information. I'm sorry, my dog's being naughty. Read all the information, club presidents and chairs, to make sure you understand fully what's going on. I am always available to call me or to email me, and I will put that information in the chat. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Great. Thank you so much, Deborah. That's really helpful. And for those who aren't in Region 18, Deborah was kind enough to send me the full allocation list for everyone, even if you're outside Region 18. So I'll make sure to include that in the Council of Clubs newsletter as well. And we can get going on that. And
can I add one more thing I forgot that's crucial? I need regional directors need these forms by 5 o'clock on Tuesday. And actually, if you could get it sooner, the better, because everything has to be put in a master Excel spreadsheet. Thank you.
Perfect. And I just saw Michelle hop on. If Michelle wanted to chime in on the CDP. Michelle, I know you just hopped on. Yeah, Deborah just gave a little bit of CDP info, but if you just wanted to chime in as well.
So I didn't hear Deborah's, so I don't know if I'm going to be repeating stuff, but basically all of the allotments have been sent out to the clubs. It was the process was very different than I did it 2 years ago. Those of you that were here at that time, we you know that I personally made phone calls to everybody who had sent in their paperwork. But this time there were only 11 of our clubs in that qualified in Region 20. No, 12, sorry. They discovered one that had a hidden row. So there were 12, and I've personally spoken to those people, but there are others that are questioning that they did not get allotments, and I spoke with Emma about that, and she's asked that those clubs, I mean, obviously feel free to call me. I'm happy to help facilitate that connection. And Emma said that people can email her or Ben. So it's emma@cadem.org, ben@cadem.org. But primarily it's Emma that's doing these. And if there's an issue with people not getting allotments, please let me know. And then also feel free to contact them directly. Obviously, we have the special election that I do want to speak about, February 5th. That's not specifically involving the clubs, but it's important for everybody in this room to be aware of that happening with Assembly District 80. That's the pre-endorsement for Assembly District 80. And I have gotten a lot of questions about it. So it's basically everybody who is currently a CDP delegate who lives in the old or the current Assembly District 80. That's who's voting in February 5th. That's who was contacted. And then for the upcoming one, February 12th, is going to be for the clubs. I'm sure Deborah did say this, the allotment was based on the current districts, but those club representatives will be voting in their new upcoming districts on February 12th. So I know that's confusing, but that's important. And as a club president, if you want to consider that, if your club is trying to support a particular candidate because you've done an endorsement process, I would strongly suggest you use the We Draw the Lines ca.org. It's changed. It's changed from what it was. It was we draw the lines.ca.gov, and now it's we draw the lines ca.org. And if you go on that site, you'll see all the Assembly, Senate, and congressional boundaries, but they are hard to actually see exactly where the streets are. So if you go to the top, there's a trick, which I just talked to Wayne about from Torrey Pines this morning. You can put in anybody's address and you'll be able to see exactly who their senator is, who their congressperson is, and who their assembly person is. And if your club is trying to support a particular candidate, you would probably want to check that out before you pick that person to see if they are going to be able to vote for that particular race. So I hope that that's clear, but if you have any questions, Cody, if you could put my phone number or ask someone to put my phone number in the chat.
Sure.
I'm always happy to talk to people. So those are the major things, are the February 5th for the Assembly District 80 special election. Also very important for both the 5th and for the 12th, not the club reps, but everybody else who is a CDP delegate must have paid their dues in order for their vote to count. So for the February 5th, the dues have to have been paid by 1 p.m. that day. And for February 12th, we have not been given the exact time of our regional elections, but I'm sure it's going to be at the time that election is, or that meeting is starting. And then, of course, the last thing is March 3rd. At this time is still the convention is scheduled for March 3rd through the 6th in Los Angeles, in person at this moment. I am hoping that changes, but they are talking about having a hybrid model. And maybe it'll go virtual, depending on what the health situation is at that.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much, Michelle and Deborah. Appreciate your work. And I included much of this information in the Council of Clubs newsletter as well, but we'll follow up with that again. So now I'm going to go ahead. Oh, Justin, your hand is raised. Did you have a question?
I just wanted to say, as an 8075 delegate, the delegates are trying to ask people to email CADEM to urge them to move the convention virtually because of the COVID spikes. 45,000 new cases in a day in Los Angeles County. It's very concerning. So if you are advocating for a hybrid or virtual model, you're encouraged to do so before January 31st. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Justin. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead next into our an announcement from the Go team. So I believe, I don't know if it's Beth that's doing it or Dina.
Dina.
Okay, cool.
I think.
Dina.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Cody, for the time. Happy New Year, everyone, and congrats in advance to the Club of the Year. My local club is the Pacific Beach Club, and we were elected Club of the Year a couple of years ago. It's a really nice honor, so I want to say congrats to all of you that are being considered today. This is a brief announcement about the Go team and what's going to be going on over the next few months in preparation for the primary election. As I'm sure you're aware, this year the primary election is Tuesday, June 7th. It's in June again this year because this is a gubernatorial election year, not a presidential election year. The California primary only takes place in March during a presidential election year. So Tuesday, June 7th is the primary. That means that all of our outreach to voters countywide will take place throughout the month of May, starting around Friday, May 6th, maybe a few days before that, maybe that weekend, but through the whole month of May. So what I'm here to talk with you about is what's going to happen in March, late February, March, a little bit into April. And that is Go Team training throughout the county. The trainings this spring will be available by webinar. We had been planning to offer it live in-person trainings. I'm not sure whether that will change now because of the COVID spike. But a lot of these webinar meetings are being set up as part of club meetings. So I encourage you to check the website and see if any of those meeting dates coordinate with your club meeting, or notify one of us from the Go Team board to let us know that your club would like to host a Go Team training at your monthly meeting. That has worked very, very well at the clubs that have done that. It's brought in new club members because some folks who show up to be trained as volunteers for the Get Out to Vote effort then like it so much and are so encouraged to meet other Democrats in their area, they join the clubs. And I'm going to encourage you to do that. Our hope is to eventually send to all of the clubs the information, the contact information on volunteers. For instance, the volunteers who helped with the call that were not regular, consistent Go Team members, folks who, we have several hundred folks throughout the county who just volunteered for the recall effort, to work against the recall. And these are folks who I think that we should be recruiting to our clubs. Our clubs are such a gem and such an incredible asset to our county. So anything we can do to support our local Democratic clubs, I think we should do it. So as I said, eventually we'll be providing the contact information to all of the clubs of folks who have volunteered and have helped out with some sort of Get Out the Vote effort for the Go Team effort this upcoming May. But if you would please consider and talk with your e-boards about sponsoring a training in your March meeting so that we can get a lot of more folks involved throughout the county. And that's it. Seth, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, for people to sign up to attend these trainings, they can go to the sddemocrats.org website, go into get involved, and there is a click for become a neighborhood leader.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cody, for the time.
Thank you. And yeah, I see, I'm going to put that link in the chat here. sddemocrats.org/go team. All right. Thank you both so much. I'm going to go back. Here we go. Okay, let's see. Go back to my agenda. Okay, so again, I'm just going to do a few reminders. I know we've gone over this a couple times, but I'm still getting a lot of questions. We have been having some challenges brought forward against clubs that have not adhered to some of the party rules. So I think it's really important to re-emphasize those for today. So first, I just want to remind folks that there are set dates that the county party and the state party are doing their endorsements. So I really encourage you to take a look at those if you would like to make sure that yours are done in advance of those, particularly for the county party where we do have a binding of club associates and their ability to vote. You do need to have had an endorsement vote in a particular race in order for your associate to vote at your area caucus. Most of you should have received an email from Merle from the county party staff, I believe yesterday afternoon, but if not, you can reach out to them. But that's pretty much how we've been operating since bylaw update in 2019 with the county party. And make sure that you're, other than just, doing your noticing on time, you also want to be cognizant of the candidate's time when it comes to, filling out your club's questionnaires. A lot of them can be pretty extensive, and especially for grassroots campaigns who don't have staff, that's going to be even more difficult for them. So I would encourage you to notify folks as early as possible, even if you're, still adhering to the deadline. So again, I want to reemphasize, you do need to follow your club bylaws and your policies and procedures if you have them, but it's also actually more important that you follow the party's bylaws where they are restrictive. Liz and Wayne, I see your hand raised. I assume it's something I've already discussed, so please go ahead.
Yes, Cody, thanks. Do we have a calendar of when the area caucuses will be holding
Yes.
endorsements?
Yes, here, if you go to sddemocrats.org, voting info, endorsement timeline.
Thank
And then
you.
here you can see all of that. It's also on the Council of Clubs link tree, which I've put in the chat. Endorsement timeline. So yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. And then, okay, reminder on party rules, you need to submit updates to your club officers and to your bylaws within 30 days to the county party. And there's a link to do this right here, somewhere. Where did maybe I need, oh, there's the endorsement report for, here we go. 2021 through 22, club updates, officers, bylaws, meeting details. Go back here. Clubs need to meet individually at least once quarterly, and also for all endorsement votes. So joint endorsement meetings of clubs is not permitted. You can only endorse Democrats. You can rate a non-Democrat acceptable if you would like to. I see a hand raised. Give me 1 second. Kate, go ahead.
Hi, sorry, real quick question. Are we able to endorse in races that the window has, or so for races that are coming up that aren't necessarily in the primaries, are we allowed to start endorsing in those general races, even though the filing period hasn't closed yet?
Yeah, clubs, you have, freedom to do that, as long
Okay,
as
so
you
we don't have to
adhere.
follow the party rules.
Yeah, as well. I
I mean,
mean,
the party usually has to wait until the things are closed, right?
yeah, you don't need to wait until the party decides to endorse or anything like that. You just need to follow the general rules for club endorsements.
Oh, okay, great, thanks. I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna pile up because June is so late. All right, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Michelle, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, I just have a clarification because this is coming up in a number of clubs. So there have been some clubs that have only sent out an email to the candidates, and then they say, "Oh, those candidates didn't."
Don't worry,
respond."
I'm getting to that, Michelle. Don't worry.
I'll wait. And then also I just want to make a comment that there is potentially the issue that you'll have to deal with complaints from other candidates who didn't get notified if you start doing things in advance. That's all, because that's
Yep.
happening now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Coach.
Well,
I'll let you
yeah.
finish.
Thanks, Michelle. Yeah. No, that's true. However, I will say if a candidate enters the race after you've already endorsed, you don't have to worry about it. That's on them. So, yes. So I was saying, yeah, clubs can only endorse Democrats. You can rate a non-Democrat, like an MPP, acceptable. You must send notice of your endorsement considerations to your full membership at least 14 days prior. And then you must send notice to all Democratic candidates in a race at least 5 business days prior. Again, I definitely recommend doing it earlier if you can, but keep an eye on who is entering, because if someone enters a week in advance, you notice everyone else 2 weeks, you still do need to notice the person who entered a week in advance. Yes, Indro.
Oh, sorry, Cody. Didn't mean to interrupt your slide there. No, I just had a quick point of clarification. For friendly incumbents, we also have to notify all candidates in the race as well.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. They don't need to be on your ballot though. Okay, I see Liz and or Wayne.
Thanks again, Cody. Quick question. What is the best way for clubs to find out who the qualified or eligible candidates for endorsement are if it is before the close of the nomination period?
Yes, that's a great question. So I'm not gonna put it in right now because I've been asked not to share this publicly, but I will say all of the club presidents should have received an email from Merle, which has a link to a private list of contact information for candidates and campaigns. It is different than what's publicly available on the party website. So I've been asked not to like send that out, you know, because it can be, you know, we have other folks on our email list and things like that, but all the club presidents should have gotten one from Merle. If you didn't, you can go ahead and email either her, Merle at sddemocrats.org, or if you want to just email clubs at sddemocrats.org, party staff gets a copy of that as well. Oh, I see our esteemed chair, William, has entered the chat. Raise his hand. You want to say something, Will?
Yes, only that to highlight that. So there is a public list that's on our website, but the private list that the club presidents are getting should be an internal document. As we know, a lot of our elected officials have faced, I mean, there may have been an assassination attempt recently. So the information and the contact information of our elected officials is to be considered private, and we will discipline any club that releases that information publicly.
Yep, thank you, Will. That's a good point. Yeah.
So are the names different, or is it just that the contact information?
Contact information, addresses were verified by the party. So it's like you have the public information where, you know, you get it off of the voter rolls or whatever they signed to the registrar of voters. We go in and contact when we need to like figure out, like if someone's their contact's not working or whatever, our staff goes the extra step to like find their address, like which staff member it goes to and all that stuff. So
okay, but there's no difference in the names that are on the two lists.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the information attached to the names.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, and I want to clarify, this slide here is not an exhaustive list of rules. If you want a better resource, would be our October meeting where Will and I went more in depth on all of these rules. You can find that a recording of the meeting as well as a link to the slides on the Council Club's link tree, which again I had put in the chat, and it's in the Council of Clubs newsletter as well. And but also I just want to add, so in terms of the 5-day business, you know, notice that is like the bare minimum. Like I said, try to notice folks as early as possible, especially with the kind of condensed you know, endorsement timeline that we've had because of redistricting. A lot of clubs are having meetings on the same day and trying to do the same races, and that makes it really complicated for candidates who need to be in 2 places at once. So try to sort that out as soon as possible. You know, work with the other clubs. Like I've already, like one of my clubs, we had ours the same day as another one earlier this month, and we're going to have it the same day as another one later this month. So, you know, we've kind of coordinated for one to start early and do that race first on our agenda, and then the opposite to kind of make sure that that can all get done. And then as Michelle mentioned earlier, you need to both, so what you need to do is ensure to the best of your ability, receipt of your notice. Now, what I generally do and recommend to folks is when I'm noticing for my clubs, which usually we do at least a couple weeks or maybe a month in advance, send them an email and request that they respond confirming receipt of your email, even if they're not done with a questionnaire or anything else that you require. And that way you can get that off your plate and make sure that they've received it. But if you're not getting responses to your emails, you do need to pick up the phone and call them. And that's part of our party rule, to make your best effort to contact them. And again, you can find that information on the link that Meral sent out. Very few of them don't have either a phone or email. That's okay. You're not expected to go trying to hunt down one yourself, but to the best of your ability and using the information provided by the party. Yes, Michelle.
I just want to add that every club president has the ability to get a vote builder lookup list. You can find the candidates on that generally. And I strongly encourage that. Plus, Morale has said to me, I don't know if this has changed, but that they are not seeking out the candidates, that she is not looking for them. She is just waiting for them to contact the party. So the clubs that I'm involved with on that political level, we go to the San Diego city website to check out for San Diego City Council races. You can go to the sites, either the Register of Voters, you look up their 501. That's the way to tell whether someone new has come onto the scene, by checking the actual place that they would have to file. So it's great if the Democratic Party has it, but if they don't, it seems to me that we need to do that extra work to just make sure that we're catching people, as Cody said, who might come into the race during that last week.
Okay, I'm gonna, Madam Chair,
Yeah.
since you asked me to unmute myself, I presume you wanted to speak. Here's the deal, Michelle, that is not the rules of the party. We are not required to do that. And if a candidate doesn't understand our process, then they are not qualified candidates. So we are doing the extra, we are doing the work to make sure we're doing the work to check and make the information available. We're not expecting the clubs to go above or beyond. We're only expecting them to do what is required of them. And with the understanding that the party's role is not to subordinate to candidates, it's for candidates to follow our processes if they want our endorsement. And this is not the place to have a discussion about changing that practice. This is a discussion, a one-way discussion from our director of clubs to the council of clubs, and then for them to ask questions about the rules that are on the books. So we're not interested in doing this whole, adding this or adding that. We just want the clubs to know what is required of them, because that's what they're getting challenged on. And I and our executive board and our director of clubs do not want to continually see challenges, because we have a bunch of officers here who are doing their best to follow the rules. So I want us to make sure that we focus our conversation on what the rules are at the moment, so that we can get everybody on the same page and not have a back and forth about the philosophy of the rules or whether or not the rules should be changed. So this is a service for our presidents, because they're doing a great job to try and get their endorsements done, and they're missing one thing or another. It's all good in good faith, and we want to make sure they're educated and briefed on what the rules are, so that we don't have these conflicts which create this vitriol. So if we want to talk about other things and how to change the rules, that's the admin committee, but it's not the appropriate place to discuss right now.
Right. Thanks so much, Will. Appreciate it. And yeah, and I also want to clarify, I left off this slide originally. I just updated it, but the 14-day notice needs to go to both your members and the county party. Most of you are doing great on that. You already have clubs at sddemocrats.org or calendar at sddemocrats.org in your newsletter, but just to kind of add on to that reminder. And again, this is not an exhaustive list of the rules you need to follow. You can find more of that in the presentation Will and I did in October. I also reviewed these at our last meeting in December. But I just want to give, a refresher for folks. And again, this slide, all past slides and recordings are available on our YouTube channel, which you can find here. Yes, Suzanne.
I am wondering about who you send the notification to about an endorsement in the, do we send it to Will, or who do we send it to?
Send it to me. Well, so send it to clubs@sddemocrats.org, and that actually sends a copy to myself and to the party staff. And you can use that to send your original 14-day notice that goes to your members. And you should also CC clubs@sddemocrats.org on the notice you send to the candidates. And this is really important so we can help confirm that everything was done on time, especially as candidates are, sometimes challenging endorsement votes, and we don't want that to happen. So please make sure that you CC me and the party staff, clubs@sddemocrats.org on your notices.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's a good question. And again, yeah, I kind of reviewed already, but yes, so yeah. At least 5 business days prior for candidates. You have to use the info from the SDCDP. You can use other info in addition to that if you just happen to have someone's phone number or whatever, but you have to at least use information provided by the party. If you don't get a response acknowledging receipt of the email, make sure you call them before the 5 business day deadline. Even if it's a friendly incumbent, you still need to invite the other ones. And I'm gonna actually update this. You do actually, Will clarify to me, you do need to allow an option for a non-friendly incumbent to speak, but it doesn't need to be like a whole thing. You don't need to include them on your ballot, but you do need to invite them to the meeting. And then you, like I mentioned earlier, club endorsement report form 2021 through 2022. This is on here as well, endorsements, club endorsement report form. This is the same link also that Maral sent out to club presidents earlier, but if you need a quick place to find it, it's there on the link tree. You need to complete the form at least 48 hours prior to the area meeting that your associate is going to be expected to vote in. That means, don't have your meeting like the day of or the day before. And we've shortened this, so you don't have to provide as much information as you used to, but you will need a copy of your minutes. It's okay if they haven't, been fully approved by your club yet, because obviously that won't happen until your next monthly meeting. But basically, you just need to report, the results and a copy of your minutes to party staff using this form at least 48 hours prior. And again, this is necessary for your club associate to be able to vote in the endorsement proceeding for the respective race. Will, I think they can still vote if there's like separate motions to rate or postpone or that sort of thing, regardless, right? I don't know if you're still there.
Yeah, what was the question specifically?
Yeah, so if a club hasn't done an endorsement, I know they can't vote in the actual endorsement vote, but if after that's done, if there are various motions like postponing or like
Right.
rating acceptable or something, they can still participate regardless.
Right, because ratings are not endorsements, so they're not, it's not the, for everyone, I know Cody knows, but for everyone else, ratings are not endorsements. So, and the postponement and like sort of parliamentary procedures associated with endorsement votes are not the endorsement vote. So the restrictions of binding to the endorsement vote only refers to the immediate process by which we are endorsement vote. We are going through the internal voting process in order to get through to an endorsement. So for example, all the votes, 3 candidates in the beginning plus no endorsement, that's an endorsement vote. All subsequent votes are an endorsement vote in the process as you weed them down. However, once you get through that process, there's an opportunity to rate. That's not an endorsement vote. Or if someone postpones it, moves to postpone in the middle of an endorsement vote, also not an endorsement vote. Everyone can vote on that.
Okay, I think I see a couple of hands raised, but for some reason it's not showing in my video screen. I see Liz and or Wayne and then Bill after.
Okay, thank you, Cody. So I assume the same applies to recommendations on ballot measures. What information that Bill just provided, endorsement rules do not apply.
Right. So the reason, yes, but for a different reason. The reason it applies is because the section that that governs endorsement, the binding reads. Gosh, I just sent this to Cody a little while ago. The section that governs binding states that a club's endorsement vote is activated when the number of Democratic candidates is equal to or less than the number of available seats. Which means if the number is 0, there's no candidates in the race, then there's no binding. The binding rule applies only to candidates. So all clubs may vote whenever there's a ballot initiative.
Okay.
It's confusing, but that's how they wrote it. So it is what it is.
And so club rules govern on ratings and on ballot recommendations, correct?
Your question is, could you restate it because it was a little low?
So the club's rules are the only rules we
Right.
need to be concerned about for ratings and recommendations.
Well, no, because ratings as a process usually come in as part of your endorsement process, and obviously the party has other rules applicable. But in terms of like instructing your delegates or your club associates on how to vote in relative to ratings or ballot initiatives, that is the only rules you need to be concerned with are the club's rules.
Thank
So
you.
it's not broad. Like you don't have to, like the only rules that you need to be concerned about. So what you said is not completely accurate, but if I were to say it specifically, in relation to binding of votes, meaning instructing your associate how to vote at the central committee on ballot initiatives or ratings, or in a situation where there's one candidate, there is no rule of the party, or one candidate or an equal number of candidates as there are to seats, there is no rule for the party to bind. I know that's more complicated, but it has to be more specific because otherwise I'll tell you the wrong thing.
Thanks.
Okay, Bill.
Our club probably has violated some of the rules simply through whatever, ignorance, let's say. So now what?
I would have to know the specifics, but in general, a revote is in order. You could have your club ratify its decisions later on. It depends. Is there like a specific race that's coming up that you may have, like if it's in the past, who cares? Like it's all, we're talking about moving forward.
Yeah, and if you haven't received a challenge from anyone, then, I mean.
Right.
Well,
right.
these rules, the rules I'm referring to are the county rules, right? So we've never noticed you, for example, that we're going to do an endorsement, and we've never filled out an endorsement form.
Well, the form is optional. It's only if you want to vote in the area caucus. So if you haven't done that, that's not really a rule you're breaking. But yeah, you do need to notice the party. But again, I mean, worst case scenario, you don't get a vote in the area. So if you already haven't been, then I don't know.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's fine. I get it. That's okay.
Yeah, also in your area, the incidences in which the endorsements have been cast recently, there was a single candidate, I believe. So there was no rule binding the vote. So we're not concerned about so we would not have sanctioned you for that.
Okay,
So this is
that's
all moving forward.
okay, yeah, that's great. That makes sense. So the other thing is that it shows the North Coastal Caucus not doing any endorsements moving forward, as near as I can tell from the calendar.
Right.
But our chair, our chair says that we could be doing endorsements in the future. Is that just a lag of information or whatever?
Yeah, so the executive, I've directed our vice chairs to start putting together their calendars for the rest of the year to start in March, or to start, well, it depends, but there could be endorsements as soon as February. But actually at this point, it'll probably be earliest March. So they have not submitted that to me yet, but we will probably finalize that sometime in February. I'll present it to Central Committee, and then we'll have an endorsement calendar for the rest of the year.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Greg?
Yeah, just a real quick question. Is there a way, once we've filled out a form, endorsement or whatever, can we get a confirmation that we've done it? Just because I'm never sure whether I've quite done it, and it sort of disappears. I think, did I fill in that last part of it? Could I just get some kind of confirmation sent to me that, yes, I did it, and yes, it was correct? I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, I guess I would reach out to Maral. She's generally the one that handles that aspect, to my understanding. You can also email, if you forget who, you can email clubs@sddemocrats.org, and she and I and the party staff get a copy of that. But yeah, generally it's Maral that handles that with party.
It'd just be helpful in the future if you had some way of tweaking your form, the website, so that it automatically said, okay, you're done, or just verifies. That would be helpful. So thanks.
Yeah, I don't know, Will, is that something?
I'm sorry, I'm sick. I didn't hear anything he said.
No worries. Is it possible? I don't want to, direct Maral without your direction, but if she could update this club endorsement report form to send a confirmation to the president after they submit,
submit that direction and CC me.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And thanks, Greg, for the suggestion.
Yeah, thanks so much. I know it's silly, but it's really helpful.
No, yeah, it makes sense. I just checked now because I did a bunch yesterday, and you're right, I don't have any confirmation. So okay. All right, well, okay, I think moving forward, this took a little longer than I thought it would, but I think it's a good thing that we clear as much up as we can. And yeah, with that, and please, if you have further questions, feel free to reach out, clubs@sddemocrats.org, and we can, figure that out. But I think we should move forward with the rest of our agenda today. So, okay, just a couple other reminders, and then we're going to head into our Club of the Year presentations. Again, I put this in the chat, but this is a quick link thing, Linktree. I know it's weird because it's like tr.ee, but linktr.ee/demclubs. Linktree is just a way to kind of make a list of links rather than creating like a whole website. It's something you might be interested in for your clubs as well. It's free to make, but there's just a bunch of helpful links here. You can also find most of those on the party website, but this is just the easiest way for me when folks are asking for links, and I can just send this. Again, meeting recordings on YouTube, slides, the regular monthly registration link, updates to the party on your club, chartering docs, endorsement docs, other resources. And I've heard some other clubs have started using this for their club and found it helpful, so hopefully you might too. And again, if you need access to Vote Builder for your club, to check your members or applicants registration, you can email clubs@scdemocrats.org and a party staff member will get back to you. I don't have that myself, so one of them will get back to you, and it's one per club. And again, I mentioned this before, but you need to not just notice your members and candidates, you need to notice the party of your meeting, including the date, time, and location, which the location includes the Zoom link or registration link or whatever you're using. That needs to be a part of that. We do publish that on the county party website, and you can find that here. Not that. Yeah. Okay. I think there's a separate other link for club for the calendar as well, but you can also find it on the clubs page. And this is also really helpful for clubs if you're trying to plan an endorsement meeting, want to make sure that, if your club generally meets at the same time as another one and they're in the same area and they might be doing the same one on the same day, like it's really helpful to plan for that. And yeah, we recommend you use a recurring Zoom link, so it's the same link every month. Otherwise, you'll have to update it with the party every month. I'm going to go ahead now. Thanks everyone for your patience, and go into our Club of the Year presentations. So we had 4 clubs nominated for Club of the Year, and this is not, I just put them in alphabetical order for ease of, for me. So I want to make sure I have someone from each of the clubs. I know I have Coronado and API. And did I see Black Mountain Dens? Lee, I see you there. And then do we
I'm here, yes.
All right. And do we have someone from the Progressive Dens on? If you want to raise your hand, if so. I'm not seeing anyone, so we can maybe, go ahead and do them last, just in case. So let's see, does anyone want to volunteer to go first? You can raise your hand. And if
Black
not,
Mountain would be glad to go first if you'd like.
okay, great. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Lee, I'm going to make you a co-host, and that way you can share your screen if you have a PowerPoint or slides. If not, then that's fine. But
we have a PowerPoint. So
okay. Do you see the share screen button?
I do not see the share screen button. I'm not sure what the issue is.
Should be at the bottom. I made you.
Yeah, I know. Huh.
Next to the chat button.
It is not there. I've got record and participants, and that's it. Am I a co-host now?
That's odd. Yeah, I think I did, unless. Yeah, no, it says co-host. Let me remove you and re-add you and see if that fixes it.
Thanks.
Let's see. Let's try one more time here. Make co-host. Still nothing?
No, I don't know why.
Huh.
It does give me breakout rooms though.
PC or Apple?
Apple.
Oh.
Justin?
Let's see.
Yeah, there should be a green share screen button at the bottom.
Yeah, I know. It's not there.
Huh.
Here.
Well,
you want someone else to go first while we sort this out?
Yeah, and if you want, you could also, if you want, you could send me your PowerPoint and I can move through the slides for you if that works.
I'll do that right now, yeah.
Okay, so you can go ahead and do that. I see Susan's hand raised. I think she might be volunteering for Coronado to go first. Is that correct, Susan?
Yes, we are. We're ready to go.
Okay. Well, I think you're still a co-host, so if you are available, you can go ahead. And I did notify the clubs that they would have 10 to 15 minutes each. So I'm gonna, I don't want it going the whole time on the screen there because that'll be distracting, but I'm gonna set a timer and I'll let you know if we're getting close to 15 minutes, if that works.
Thank you.
All right, so whenever you're ready.
Okay, we're ready to go. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Susan Finley Marinan, president of the Coronado Democratic Club, and we are honored to be a nominee and to be in the good company of the AAPI Democratic Club, the Black Mountain Democratic Club, and the Progressive Dems. Well, when you think of Coronado, what comes to mind? The bridge, the Dell, Republicans, tortillas, old people? Well, let's take a look. We're here to show you where we've been and what happened in 2021 and take a look at the future. We may be the oldest chartered club or the oldest club in San Diego County, but we think, or we like to think, we're one of the most dynamic. We're building a bridge to a better future by teamwork, diversity, activism, and outreach. What our club does has to be framed in light of our daily uphill battles, and the hills are steep. Our members put up signs, text, phone, canvas, write letters to the editor, op-ed pieces with some encouraging results. We have a Republican mayor here, a member of the Central Committee, Republican Central Committee, who ran unopposed in 2020. He's anti-mask, anti-Dem values, and we couldn't find a candidate that we could persuade to oppose him. Dems in Coronado feel isolated and alone and are here in Coronado, and our club is making our presence known, and we're encouraging every Coronado Dem to stand up and make a difference. We're a minority in a Republican majority city. We're about 30.2% of the registered voters. Nevertheless, Coronado went blue for Biden in 2020, the first time since 1992. And recall in 2021 was pretty much a dead heat with only 100 plus or so votes more for yes than no. So we consider that a purple, even though the mayor and Carl DeMayo were very active here pushing for the recall. In our city, potential candidates won't run. And if they are persuaded to run, or we talk to them, they're very hesitant to accept Democratic Party endorsements because they fear, with some justification, harassment, vandalism, threats, and bullying. They worry for their family's safety. And we're here to let Coronado Dems know they're not alone. Well, let's look at the past for a minute. It can be instructive. 134 years ago, 23 Democrats formed a club in Coronado. We like to think of them as the OG club. Other than the name of their president, we couldn't find too much out about them. This led to the creation of our Democratic Club historian and a club scrapbook, actual and virtual. We learned that our club received this award in 2005, and whether we've ever been nominated any other year is unknown. But with our scrapbook, future generations are going to know what we did in 2021. The past is a source of knowledge and the future is a source of hope. So even in this current political climate, we went blue in 2020. We have one Dem on the school board who ran endorsed as a Democratic candidate because she wanted to know, the public to know what she stood for, and she won. We have a member, a Democratic Club member on the city council. We are combating the misinformation that appears in our local media every week, every day. As I said, we have a lot of anti-mask, anti-vax people here. Our school board is under serious attack that we're responding to. And as I said, candidates are scared. So who are we? Well, we're 240 strong. In 2021, we gained 45 new members, which we think is pretty good for an off presidential election year. We had 195 renewals, and of our club membership, all but 14 are registered Democrats. We average about 50 for every meeting, Zoom or actual. And how diverse are we? Well, we reflect our community. We're perhaps a little bit more diverse. Now, these numbers are approximations. We know they don't add up to 100% because they're from multiple sources, but they're of interest to us. Our strategic planning committee did ask about ethnicity and race in a recent survey, along with other questions. And the numbers for us as far as 84.5% white or Caucasian, Latino or Hispanic 8 are pretty accurate. The ones for the city are combination of some that are overlaid, but it gives you a general idea that we do reflect our community, but perhaps we're a little bit more diverse. And we have run some interesting programs in 2021. They range from diversity and inclusion, environment, criminal justice reform, mental health issues, including cult membership and how to get people out of a cult, voting rights, and political climate. All of these speakers are outstanding. We've had 3 workshops in 2021, including a workshop on how to write a letter, a good letter that'll get published in the local press. We had our own phone banking team that did a workshop for our members how to phone bank, and our strategic planning workshop that was really, really productive with coming up with a plan. We also have special events, and these are what we ran in 2021. The 100-day celebration, we met and greeted with Nora Vargas in the park, and we got together to paint posters for the 4th of July parade, and you are all invited to march with us next July in Coronado's 4th of July parade. We marched the Women's March, we supported the Roosevelt Dinner, we had a theater night, and a coffee in the K's. The K's are our most conservative part of town, attended by 30 Dems, and we picked up some new members. And at our happy holiday hour, 77 people showed up to celebrate. One attendee said for the first time she felt comfortable in Coronado after Trump was elected in 2016. We marched. We've been busy, as you can see. We drink coffee out of our kicking ass coffee mugs that we give to speakers and committee chairs. So it's been quite a year. We did special projects and programs, and one that we're very proud of is our scholarship program. We had 2 scholarships given out last year. Next year, we will have 2 plus an essay contest, which we're very, very excited about. And I'd like to, we collected hundreds of books, bilingual, for the Little Libraries Project. Our team of mentors consisted of prior office holders in Coronado who are here to advise and encourage candidates, Democrats, to run for office in this town. The community read is exciting. The Coronado Public Library has an annual community read every year. And in 2021, we were successful in getting the book chosen stamped from the beginning by Ibram Kendi. And this really was a shock to many of the residents in Coronado, but boy, we got out the vote and we did it. Community outreach, well, we had a theater night. Emerald Keepers is a wonderful environmental group that's Coronado oriented. Safe Harbor is a Coronado group that works with kids primarily with mental health issues. We gave money to the Chamber of Commerce, $250 to buy free lunches for the people who were giving vaccinations at the community center, COVID vax. As you can see, we also helped the unsheltered. We made contact with the young Dems, and the Coronado High School, believe it or not, has a feminist club. All right. We collaborate with Inclusionado, which focuses on programs like No Place for Hate and other local groups in supporting our school board. So the Go Team activities, we had 3 actual members of the Go Team that worked in August on our kickoff canvassing, but we also had a lot of other club members at other events who were doing other things. We traditionally do a voter registration for new citizens, but that's been on hold because of the pandemic. So when instead, we contributed to Swing Left at 3 events. At least 25 members were at each of them, writing letters to other states. Virginia and Arizona were 2 of the states. We did our own club phone banking, signs, newsletters, email drops, and so on. So what a year. Communications, well, 347 get our emails, our newsletters, our letter writing teams we have 4 teams of 10 to 12 people each who write letters every week to the local press to combat misinformation and let people in Coronado know we are here. We are Democrats and we are here. We conducted a member survey evaluation, which was great. So we know what our members are interested in. Ballot forums was the head of the list, guest speakers and community events, and our communications. The 4 areas that we're focusing on as a result of this strategic plan are at the bottom of this slide. This is where we're going in the future, and we've already implemented a few of those suggestions. So our participation in county groups is very important to us, and our participation has been good. We have a good attendance, we think, and we want to thank the leadership of the Council of Clubs. You inspired us with your program on strategic planning. We started it last February. It was approved in December, and we have a great strategic plan, which will be posted on our website in place, and we're ready to go. We appreciate the South Area Caucus and getting to know the wonderful South Area clubs with whom we are going to have a softball tournament, a battle of the bays that we've been planning hopefully for next March. And the Central Committee is invaluable for its help and support. And also we participated in the Education Alliance Club panel on how to protect school boards. Let's hear from some of our members. So what are people saying about us? Marty Emerald thanked us for having sharing our signs on the No on Recall. And here's Brian.
Susan, I don't think we can hear it.
Okay, we'll go up.
You have to allow.
No, we'll up the volume for that. Here we go.
I think there's a specific setting in share screen to share audio.
Oh, that's why it's not on there. Okay.
We'll find it.
Okay. Also, 2 minutes remaining for your presentation.
Share audio. Let's see. Well, I'm doing an advanced sharing. Remote control. Do you know where that is?
It's
Share sound. Got it.
okay.
Let us know if it works.
Okay.
Can we hear now?
Hi.
Yes.
One of the things that I like most about being a member of the Coronado Democratic Club is to spend time with intelligent, educated, informed, and well-traveled people who have a global perspective and are not solely worried about the size of their bank accounts. It's been fun being a member, and I look forward to all the years to come.
I love that our Coronado Dem Club embraces diversity and inclusion. Gracias.
What I loved most about the Coronado Democratic Club in the last year was the opportunity to be a member of a unique and fulfilling undertaking, the development of the club's strategic plan. The strategic planning team, our committee, sought maximum input from club members through both a survey, quite extensive, and in-person strategic plan workshop over several months. Part of the benefit was meeting others from the club and really bonding with them over this critical project. With board approval of the plan's recommendations, we've really created, I think, a living document that will serve us in growing and engaging our membership, addressing diversity and inclusion, voting rights, the environment, and a number of other key issues.
We have some major accomplishments we're proud of that you've heard about already, but our club strategic plan leads the list. I mentioned the others. Our membership growth was 19% in 2021, pretty good, we thought, for a non-presidential election year. And we've been busy supporting the school board and trustees. But let's take a look at our biggest challenge in 2021.
Coronado High School's head basketball coach fired just 2 days after his team won the CIF championship. But it's what happened after the game that got him canned.
Coronado High School students hurling tortillas toward Orange Glen's predominantly Hispanic basketball team. The incident sparked an emergency special meeting Tuesday night at the Coronado Unified School District.
We have much to learn about racial diversity, and I hope to do some of that tonight.
Coronado's team captain Wayne McKinney weighing in, saying he truly believes his teammates didn't have any racist intentions, but understands the implications.
You have to be kind of sensitive to how they believe it looked, and throwing those tortillas, at a predominantly Hispanic school, it doesn't look good. You kind of have to look at both perspectives, because if I'm a black man, if I was at another school and somebody was throwing stuff that seemed racist, if they were throwing bananas or throwing watermelon, I'd be pretty upset.
Some members of the Coronado community expressed their disapproval of the district and superintendent, saying they were too quick to issue their statement Sunday, condemning the tortilla incident without knowing the full story.
Sir, you jumped the gun. You caused a myriad of issues for our boys.
A group of Coronado residents are coming forward to apologize more than a month after a high school basketball championship game at Coronado High ended with tortillas being thrown at the opposing team.
Tuesday, the group Inclusionado held a small gathering outside the Coronado Unified School District building to publicly apologize after the controversial tortilla throwing incident at the end of a CIF basketball game between Coronado High School and Orange Glen.
We want to acknowledge the wrongdoing and the impact, the emotional impact that has had, not only on the basketball players from the Escondido team, but also to the community of Escondido. It is time to start the process of reconciliation between Coronado and Escondido by saying we are sorry.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. We've had quite a year.
All right, thank you so much, Susan. I will note for folks that did go a little over, but I thought it was important to let them get through that last part. So I will give other clubs a few extra minutes as well.
Absolutely.
And then I think it's best if we do a joint Q&A at the end, just because I feel like it's going to be a lot of the same questions. So if that's okay, I'm going to go ahead now and switch over. I did receive the email from Lee, so let me just get that open. 1 second. Okay. All right. I am going to find Lee again. I'm going to spotlight you, and then I'm going to share my screen with the PowerPoint. All right. Can folks see that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm going to go into the PowerPoint mode, and then Lee, if you just want to say like next when you're ready for me to switch.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, and I'll try to give a warning when you have like a few minutes left as well.
Okay, I'll try not to be a gas bag.
Okay.
And I'd like to congratulate Susan on a very impressive presentation. That was remarkable. Good job.
Thank
So
you.
anyway, I'm Lee Finney. I'm the president of the Black Mountain Democratic Club, and I'm here to present what we have done over the last year and where we are headed going forward. So you go to the next slide. Next.
Do you
Cody?
see it? Yeah, do you see? Maybe it's taking a while.
Yeah, I'm still on the first slide.
Okay. Okay, because I'm on the second slide with the list of communities and such. How about, okay, let me leave this PowerPoint mode. Can you see it now?
I can, yes, thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead with this because sometimes in PowerPoint mode, it's kind of funky. So go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, we're named after a prominent local landmark, Black Mountain, which is actually quite lovely, except for all the electronics up on top. The club serves northern San Diego and the communities of Mira Mesa, which is the heart of the club, Sorrento Valley, Scripps Ranch, Sabre Springs, and Rancho Penasquitos. But we are the only club that actually serves all of City Council District 6. So we are prominent in that respect, particularly. Next. Club officers, myself, Tiffany Cuellar, Andrew Miklusikak, Claudia Von Wilbert, and my wife, Marcia, who are actively involved. We had a change 2 years ago in the club officers, so we have kind of changed to some extent the culture of the club. And part of what we are doing is going through a process of kind of reconceptualizing or reimagining the club, what it does and how it interacts with this community and the party in general. Next.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So major accomplishments for the last year. We continued our policy of Zoom-only meetings, which we began the year previously when the pandemic struck. And we're very proud that despite the pandemic, we have continued to be very active in the community and continued meeting with our members. So we feel like we've done a good job of holding it all together during this period when a lot of people are just basically cloistered and locked away. We held 11 of our normal 12 meetings. We did cancel our traditional December holiday party, but otherwise we held all our meetings again via Zoom. We grew our membership from 65 to 87, so that was a growth of almost 34%. Our meetings range from attendance range from mid-20s to 75, and we had 75 people attend our Zoom with Dr. Shirley Weber, who spoke to us about voter suppression. Most of our 2020 dues-paying members renewed their memberships and are still with us. In accordance with the initial Council of Clubs recommendation, we did do a needs assessment for the club, which was actually a very valuable operation. It helped us understand better what the expectations and the needs of our membership was, and also to look more closely at the community and think about the ways we could do a better job or a more effective job of working with them as representatives of the Democratic Party. We reviewed the club bylaws to ensure that they reflected the actual needs and dynamics of the club. We revamped our club website and Facebook page to be more communicative. And we've done, I think, a pretty good job of reaching out to the community and providing information as needed. We ran 6 different collection drives for the unaccompanied minors who are being housed at the convention center. We delivered quite a bit, several vehicles full each time of goods that were needed by the young ladies, and then they added in young men to that group. And several members of the club also volunteered to work directly with the minors being kept at the convention center. We reached out to local neighborhood clubs in Poway, Rancho Bernardo, and Penasquitos to collaborate on online activities during the pandemic. Fielded up to 28 Go Team members for canvassing operations during the recall election, which we, I think, did a good job of vociferously opposing in our communities. We participated in the die-in at Congressman Scott Peters' office when we were trying to push him to support more aggressive pharmaceutical pricing legislation. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Scott Peters. I've worked on his election campaigns of the last 4 campaigns. And but we just felt that we needed to make our voices heard here, because that is definitely an area in which we need to be more aggressive. And we held multiple postcard writing activities and calling operations to support or oppose specific legislation during the year. Next.
Sorry.
That's
Not
okay.
sure.
I'm
I
not putting
pressed
you
the
to sleep,
button and
am I?
it didn't work, so I'm just gonna scroll with my mouse. All right, go ahead.
Okay, that's okay. So the next 3 slides are basically the programs that we put on for our membership during the year. In January, Howard Wayne spoke on the ramifications of the 2020 election. In February, our council person, actually part of the area's council person, Marnie Van Wilbert, spoke on the state of the city and needs going forward. In March, Kent Lee spoke on discrimination and violence directed at the AAPI community. And in April, the club's needs assessment was reviewed and explained and questions answered with the membership. Next. In May, Doctors Bob and Joan Reese spoke on COVID-19 and efforts to ameliorate the pandemic. In June, Evan Johnson spoke on the challenges faced by the lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and queer community. In July, Chris Olson spoke on immigration rights and current threats. And in August, Ania Brown spoke on reimagining the police. Next. In September, we had our biggest participation of the year when Dr. Shirley Weber addressed us on voter suppression, and we invited local groups to join us for that. We had, I think, 75 or more people in attendance, which for us was a record number. In October, Amy Wawuga and Jason Berkovich spoke. It wasn't a debate. They spoke on alternate approaches to reducing drug pricing. In November, Andrea De Leon spoke on the state's newly formulated guidelines on organic waste disposal. And in December, we canceled due to the surge in the Omicron version of the virus. We canceled our holiday party. But we hope to return next year to in-person meetings, and also holding that and a party we normally have during the summer, a lunch gathering. Next. So the Zoom, as I said, the Zoom meetings allowed us to continue being active through the pandemic and to reach out to the community and our membership on a regular basis. And we found that they were very popular, very enthusiastic. And when we resume meetings sometime in the coming year here, we plan on offering a Zoom option, because being a local neighborhood club, we have a lot of elderly members for whom getting out is not an easy option. So the Zoom seemed to work very well for that group of people as well, and we want to keep them included. Next. As I said earlier, we did a needs assessment early in the year and came up with what the membership thought were the primary requirements and functions of the club, and also what they would like to see us doing going forward. And the nice thing was that we found that mostly we were pretty much doing what our membership expected. And I don't know if that's just they've gotten used to us doing things our way, or if we have met their expectations. And going forward, we continue to solicit input from our membership as to what we need to be doing to again, meet their expectations and to do what we need to be doing in our communities to be effective. Next. We revamped the club website and Facebook page, which we think dramatically improved our ability to communicate with our membership, and we're getting a lot more visits and hits on both of those than we had been previously. So we feel that that has been a good effort on our part. Next. We're particularly proud of our work with the unaccompanied minors here in San Diego in the past year. As I said earlier, we had 6 vehicle loads of goods that we delivered both to South Bay Community Services and to the For Children operation out of the Polinsky Center. And several people, including my wife, Marcia, volunteered to work directly with the minors at the convention center. We felt that that really made a difference. That was something very important for us to do as members and representatives of the community. Next. One thing we have begun is tried to collaborate and coordinate with local clubs. As I said earlier, Poway, Rancho Bernardo, and Rancho Penasquitos are pretty much our sister clubs. They serve more or less the same expanded community that we do. And we invite them to our meetings. We've joined their clubs and participated in their meetings. And going forward, especially with an election year ahead of us here, we think there are a lot of opportunities, particularly on the Go Team side, to coordinate and collaborate. And we hope to make our efforts more effective through that kind of effort. And like I said earlier, we have invited them to attend our meetings, and we have attended their meetings as well. Next. So the Go Team is a very big part of what we do, and we have managed to field sizable field teams to canvass neighborhoods. During the recall election for one particular canvass in Mira Mesa, we fielded 28 people to knock on doors and talk to people, and that is something this year we will be doing much more of. We feel that's very important. I personally am a Go Team trainer and will be hosting at least one Go Team training, either at a club meeting or at a special event. Next. So in summary, we stayed active during the pandemic. We grew the club. We maintained monthly programs that we felt served the members' needs and expectations. We participated in community affairs, reached out to legislators on a regular basis, utilized the Go Team to oppose the recall effort. And then also we've established critical goals for the coming year to grow the team to more than 100 members, expand collaborative activities with other clubs, and flip City Council District 6, which is the only remaining Republican city council person in the city. And 3 of the 4 candidates running on the Democratic side are club members, a fact of which we're very proud, and look forward to having one of those take Chris Cates' place on the city council in the coming year. Thank you. That's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Cody.
All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead to Indro for API DEMS. If I can find you.
Over here.
Hold on. I'm like, hold on. Let's see. Oh, there you are. Okay, cool. All right. So whenever you're ready, feel free to start.
Can everyone see my screen here?
Yes.
Yes.
On the PowerPoint. Okay. I was having problems putting this into presentation mode. So is this mode okay for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Council of Clubs, for allowing us to participate, to present, and really kind of show off what we've done over in the API DEM Club over the past year. I want to thank the Coronado DEMs and Black Mountain DEMs also. I learned a lot from your presentations, and I'm really looking forward to potentially collaborating with each other and seeing what we can do going forward in 2022. Now, what this talk is going to be, how I'm going to structure this, I'm going to talk a little bit about the club, the why, what we did this past year. I'm going to talk about our civic engagement. I'm going to talk about our educational engagement, and then also talk about the candidates and what we're doing with our folks who've earned our blue square or our political calendar. And you see that at the bottom of the screen here. So first off, I'll start with, so what I want to start first off with is the why, the mission statement as to what the API Dem Club is all about. So again, you want to talk about the why, you want to talk about the needs. Really, the Asian American Pacific Islander Democratic Club, which was founded in 2013, it's structured around these three main points. First, to elect Democrats. We want to work to support progressive API Democrats and API Democratic allies who are running for elected or appointed offices. We want to organize our community, and you'll see why in a second here as to why we're doing that. But really, we want to organize our community and work to really organize and promote civic engagement so that the API community can have a voice at the table. So we can actually show what 17% of the city and the county are all about, and our needs, et cetera. And finally, we want to advocate for change. We want to work to advocate for policies that positively impact the lives of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in San Diego County. Now, why are these 3 points important? Why is this mission statement important? Well, if you look at the upper right-hand graph, this is a survey done by the Asian American Voter Survey in 2020, where they asked different Asian American Pacific Islander Democratic groups, have you been engaged by or contacted by the Democratic Party in the 2020 cycle? And it was actually pretty interesting, these data. What we see here is that the majority of groups, Japanese, Asian, Indian, Filipino, Korean, Vietnamese, and Chinese, and then aggregated together as Asian American, the majority said they had only been contacted a little or not at all. So what this does, it presents an opportunity for the Democratic Party to really engage the communities. Our Republican counterparts aren't doing any better, but what this tells us is that there's a need. The second reason why is to stop API hate. Now, if you've been paying attention over the past year, Stop API Hate and other groups have really highlighted the assaults over the pandemic and spoke out about the hate incidents that Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders face. Over the course of the last 2 years, from March of 2020 to September 2021, over 10,370 hate incidents were reported to Stop API Hate. I won't go into too much detail on the data, but what these two figures show together is that there is a need for an Asian American Pacific Islander Democratic Club to really advocate for our community and discuss how we fit together with our communities and our ally members. So that leads us to the question of what have we done for 2021? What is our stats, our meeting activity, our community service, our political activity over the last year as a club and as an organization? Well, at a very high level, what you can see here are the numbers that our club has. So right now we're sitting at 60 total members. This is up from 33 in the prior year. 38 of those members are new. They're members that we've gone out, sought, discussed with, and recruited to the club. That's about 63% of our members are new for the past year. 22% were retained. So these are older members who were members in 2020, et cetera, who've stayed with the club. So again, we've seen significant growth in the club. We've held the majority of our meetings over Zoom. So again, we're in the pandemic, which it's a bit like playing basketball with one arm tied behind your back, but all of our meetings have been over Zoom just to kind of keep everyone safe through this pandemic year. We've held 10 general member meetings. We did skip June and September for reasons why you'll see in a moment here. And we've held 2 special meetings outside of these 10 general meetings. I'll talk about what these were, but these were basically to highlight our community and collaboration with the community and really to educate the community. You'll see the images here on the right-hand side of the screen talk about them, but I'll talk about them more in detail as I go through the year. In addition to those meetings, in May, which is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and around that month, we've hosted a number of anti-API hate educational meetings, which I'll talk about in a moment here. I'm really proud of those. I think our members have stepped up and done a wonderful job to really educate our communities writ large about what's going on in the API communities. In terms of social media, I am kind of proud of this one too. Right now, we primarily use Facebook. Right now, we're sitting at last night at 855 likes and 931 follows in 2021. I kind of had a note written back in 2020 that we were sitting at 300 approximately. So again, this is an increase over time. The club has grown. The club has really worked hard within the Democratic community to kind of discuss those issues that I was stating earlier about engagement, electing progressive API Democrats, and advocating for change within our communities. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to talk about a timeline from January to December and really kind of lily pad as to what we've done to live our values and to really speak as to what the API community needs, what our club has done, and where we can go moving forward. So to start, back in January of 2020, so let's go back in the TARDIS and go back to then. If we go back to January, we had our first meeting of the year. This was held later in January. And there we started out right off the bat talking about Fred Korematsu Day. Fred Korematsu was a Japanese gentleman who was interned. He was convicted, I believe, of a felony because he refused the internment order. Flash forward to, I believe he took his case to Supreme Court denied it. He kept appealing. Eventually it was overturned at a lower court on appeal, and he eventually won the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Clinton in the 90s. This is a presentation by Jack Hsu, La Mesa City Council member, and Aaron Suramato Grassi. And really this was to highlight the 79th anniversary of Order 9066, the order that interned Japanese Americans during World War II. The 80th anniversary I want to mention is this year, and we will be holding some events later in the year to really educate around this. Now, this led to our club saying, okay, what can we do to educate and elevate in our community? Now, what we did there was really go into it and say, okay, let's try to get some proclamations. Again, this is driven by one of our members, Council Member Jack Hsu, but we got a team together of members in the club. So, and really went out and used our network to say, okay, how can we get these proclamations through the various municipalities? So Chris Chen, who is in Jen Campbell's office, I believe now in Shamila Rivera's office, we worked together to get this through the San Diego City Council, San Diego County, Supervisor Nora Vargas and Ryan Trabuco, my counterpart over at the Demonstrator Quality, worked together to get this through there. Jack Hsu held a meeting in La Mesa City Council where he actually got George Takei to present, which was kind of awesome. And really we got these proclamations through to kind of elevate. The other thing that we did in January was launch our Books of the Month Club, which is a adult API book and a children's API book. Again, one of the ways you combat hate is through education. So myself and my secretary, Justin, we pick a book every month, and you'll see those here on the screen, and told our community, hey, read the book, go to your independent bookseller, get it, give it to your friends. They make wonderful, wonderful gifts to really educate and elevate. February, we took a step back, held our board elections. And in March, what we did was invite an API leader in the California, Senator Richard Pan, in his office to come in and present SB 17, which is the Office of Racial Equity. We'll see why in a moment here. But again, I think of these first 3 months in Q1, what you can see is we really work to educate, elevate, and engage both intra and outside of our communities to really elevate what we're doing as an API Democratic Club. Flash forward to April, we had a special presentation by Supervisor Nora Vargas, again, reaffirming our engagement in the community. And then we took up SB 17 to endorse it. So again, this is the Office of Racial Equity, and we really wanted to highlight that going forward. It's a 2-year bill. It's passed the Senate. It's now in the Assembly, but we are planning activities in 2022 to call our local Assembly people and say, hey, do you support the Office of Racial Equity? We also held in March, and I did mention this before, one of our first community meetings. So our Vice President Jun Suh, he worked on the Hill for, I believe, 10 years and has a lot of experience working with congressional offices and working with congressional earmarks. So we held an informational forum on congressional earmarks. Again, this is something, a service that we do as a club to really, again, help our community out and make it a two-way street. Now, in addition to that two-way street, in April, the Derek Chauvin trial concluded, and that verdict came down. We did issue a club statement reaffirming our connection and our support of the BIPOC communities to really end police brutality, murder, and really kind of combat anti-Blackness. Again, one of the things I want to highlight in this short presentation is that our club really feels it's a two-way street between the API community and the communities writ large, and the communities writ large back to us. So I think these highlight that. Finally, in March, what we did was we participated in the hashtag Stop Asian Hate, the National Day of Healing. This again is another thing we wanted to do with our club to combat AAPI hate. Now, May, I think, was our banner month for the year. May again is AAPI Heritage Month, and I think we did the kind of crown jewel of what we did for the year. So one of the things we did was we gathered together all of our resources, reached out to Congressman Andy Kim's office through our VP Jin Suh, and held a forum with the groups you see here. So what we did was got together with our club, the California Young Democrats API Caucus, the California Democratic Party API Caucus, the Korean American Democratic Club, the Filipino American LA Democrats, the LA County Democratic Party, and the San Diego Democratic Party, and brought Congressman Kim. And you see him in this picture here, cleaning up the Capitol after 1/6. We wanted to bring him out. We wanted to highlight him. And we held a forum where Congressman Kim could come in and speak to the community, answer questions. One of the nice side effects of this is that a lot of local API candidates were able to reach out to Congressman Kim, really connect, and kind of drive what it means to be an API candidate in the current environment. We also held a number, as mentioned before, of anti-API hate talks. This is 10 or more talks we held at the time, which reached approximately 300 people. A lot of the clubs on this call engage with us. This is not a comprehensive list and not meant to be an endorsement of this candidacy, but we talked to Claremont, Demco, IB Dems, Torrey Pines Democratic Club, the Dems for Equality. We held a number of these forums to say, hey, here's what the API community is dealing with right now in this current environment. Here's how API racism is systemic, and really kind of elevate that within our community. So again, I want to thank these clubs. If your club's not listed here, I apologize. I have a long list of clubs that engage with us. That culminated with the presentation at the Central Committee on the invite of our chair, Will Rodriguez Kennedy, who, again, not an endorsement, but someone who I definitely want to acknowledge here. We held a forum at the Central Committee with myself presenting, our member at large and founder Judy Key, the legendary Judy Key, President Emeritus Matt Yagan, and member Darshana Patel, to really, again, talk to the communities and talk about API hate. In addition to all of this, members went out on their own, as you've seen in a previous presentation, and you'll see here, Karen Magapugai and Judy Key went out and presented to the League of Women Voters. Overall, this month, our members really stepped up, engaged the communities, and talked about the API hate that we deal with almost on a daily basis. Now, you can tell that's a lot of work, so we took June off, an off meeting. But what we did was to kind of, again, make sure that our club has a two-way street with our communities. In honor of Pride Month, in addition to taking our club position on the recall of Governor Gavin Newsom, again, spoiler alert, we wanted to stop the recall. We hosted a presentation from Tiffany Gonzalez over at PFLAG. This was an informative presentation to discuss LGBTQ IA rights and LGBTQIA issues in context with the API community, again, to really kind of engage our members and see how we can better ourselves and really engage with these partner organizations. I do want to highlight that one thing this month is Vincent Chen, and you'll hear me talk about him later in the year, was a key moment for the API, anti-API hate movement. I recommend everyone read From a Whisper to a Rallying Cry. It was one of our books of the month. Vincent Chen was an individual who was killed by 2 Detroit auto workers in the 80s. And those 2 Detroit auto workers were acting in response to perceived anti-Asian anti-Asian bias there. But and I get a little choked up when I talk about this, because again, this is a very personal thing for me, ending anti-API hate. But these 2 individuals killed Mr. Chen, and their sentence was a 6-month sentence with a $3,000 fine. So again, I do want to highlight that and recommend that book. There is a trigger warning there because it does talk about hate crimes. But you can see, again, in this month of July, we did a number of things to, again, engage our communities and live our values that I spoke of before. Moving on, in July, we actually started our political calendar for the year. We took up the La Mesa City Council endorsements, ultimately endorsing Mejgan Afshan. You can see her in the upper right-hand corner here. She earned what's called our Blue Square endorsement. It's a picture of the candidate and the square is blue. Hence the name Blue Square. Thought a lot about that. That's what we came up with. So Mejgan earned our blue square for the year, for the race, for the Lanai City Council endorsement. We also started to step up our recall efforts. So we started to walk, knock, and call in August and into September. Again, I point out Judy Key because she was the tone setter for our club. I believe Judy was out knocking every week. I tried to do a couple of weeks myself. Many of our members went out and really kind of stepped up into our communities to say, hey, we need to stop this recall effort. We also worked in a very niche and a very specific manner for our communities. We distributed virtually these flyers you see on the right-hand side. These were anti-recall flyers that were in languages targeted to communities. These were provided by the Asian Pacific Islander Caucus, but we really wanted to press these forward and show that, our communities sometimes need, sometimes you need to engage in people's language. Politics, you have to go to where people are. And so this was our work within our club to really make that happen. We did participate in the Roosevelt Dinner Awards. With Dems for Equality, we held a live watch party at a brewery. I believe that's Second Chance Brewing in North Park. And then an individual in the club won a Making a Difference award. That's me. But I feel that was a club award for the real progress we've made for the year. We took a lot of effort in the recall. So September, we kind of gave the club off, gave everyone a chance to enjoy a Saturday. Our meetings are held on Saturday. Go spend some time with your families. But we took that September off. Flash forward to October. October is another really important month for the API communities. This is Filipino Heritage Month. Here, what we did was we wanted to highlight Larry Itliong. Larry Itliong was a major leader within the union movement and the farm worker union movement alongside Cesar Chavez. And we again wanted to highlight that. So what we did was, again, with our book of the month, we selected several books to educate and elevate. We also held a special meeting where we watched together the PBS documentary talking about Larry Itliong. And again, I'll link that in our Facebook page if you like it, or I could send that to anyone. If you email me at the lower left-hand portion of the screen, I'll be happy to share that with y'all. And again, we wanted to work together with our team to say, okay, let's try to get the municipalities to recognize this. So with Chris Chen, again, over at City of San Diego, then in Jen Campbell's office, now in Johnny Rivera's office, over at San Diego County, through Nora Vargas and Ryan Trabuco, again, our counterparts there, through Chula Vistas, Indian Encarnacion, who, full disclosure, is one of our endorsed candidates for the La Mesa City Council race, Jack Shu over in La Mesa, Joanne Hester, Joanne Fields, Joanna Hester, Joanne Fields, and Satomi Ziegler. This team got put together and through text messages, emails, really worked to get these proclamations through. And again, ultimately elevating Larry Itliong as a major API leader through our work. Now, in October, November, our political calendar really got kicked into high gear, and we started our endorsement of political activities. We did a number of walks for Mejgan Afshan. I did a couple, several of our members did a couple of our newer members, first-time door knockers, came along and got to experience the safe COVID knocking environment. Unfortunately, Mejgan didn't get the spot, but we really have a lot of hope that we can work with her in the future. We had a number of endorsements we made this month, in October and November. These are key candidates, again, progressive API Democrats who are running for office or allies to the communities. So what we did was we endorsed Zenit Encarnacion for Chula Vista Mayor. We did a friendly incumbent for Nathan Fletcher. Again, Supervisor Fletcher really, Nora Vargas and his counterpart, and Carlos Reamer pushed making racism a health crisis in the county. And so we, again, felt that work should be rewarded with a friendly incumbent. Monica Montgomery Stepp and Vivian Moreno for City Council, again, real allies to the community. We did take December off. So we did get these endorsements through, and again, we're going to be in 2022 really working to make sure these candidates get across the finish line. In December, we took that off, but we did contribute to the county party toy drive. And again, what we did in these 2 months, in this last quarter of the year, was really work to expand into new areas and kind of build our base in National City, throughout San Diego County, La Mesa, Coronado Dems and Black Mountain Dems. I'm really looking forward to talking to y'all later about this to see how we can work together to expand into your areas as well. and really kind of work. National City I want to highlight because that city is going to go into council districts. There's a huge high API population out there that we want to help represent. So really, again, this last quarter was about growth. This whole year has been about growing the club, engaging our communities, and really highlighting what the API community is dealing with as a whole, and making sure the political leadership, our senior leadership at the city council level and our leadership at the clubs really understands what our community needs are. So to kind of summarize here, I'm going to bring it back to our mission statement. We want to elect Democrats. So again, I think we've worked really hard to support, and ultimately what we're going to do in 2022, progressive API Democrats who are running for elected office or appointed offices. You see some of those Democrats down here: Kent Lee, Zinnia Encarnacion, Monica Montgomery Steppe, to name a few. We're going to organize our community. We're going to work, as we've seen in 2021, we're going to move into 2022, really work to promote civic engagement. You saw that with the Andy Kim event. You saw that with Jun Su's event. You saw that with all the API presentations that we've made throughout the year, that we're really working to organize our communities, both internal and external, to highlight what the API community needs, and ultimately advocate for change. Knock on that door, get a seat at the table. Before I close out, I want to acknowledge a couple of people here. Any good scientific talk does this. I think any good talk does this. I want to acknowledge our Vice President Jun Se, our Secretary Justin, our Treasurer Rio Otero. Again, these individuals really stepped up when the club needed it and helped out. Members at large, Chi Wu Chang, Judy Key, Matt Yagan, all of the club membership, and ultimately our community members and allies. So, Cody, I think I'm on time, right? Or am I going over, or am I under?
You're a little over, but it's okay.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I forgot to remind you, and yeah, but you're pretty much on, yeah. So,
okay, no worries. So I'll stop here and then I'll jump back. But again, to the Coronado and Black Mountain Dems, thank you so much. I've learned so much from your presentations. I'm really looking forward to working with you in the future.
all right. Thanks so much. And then I just want to double check if we have Kevin Lorenz or someone else from the Progressive Dems that we're gonna present. I didn't hear from them after I notified of the nominations. So okay, well, with that being said, we'll do hopefully a fairly brief Q&A. So I'm going to add back Susan and Lee here, and we'll do a few questions. So if folks want to raise their hands and hopefully try to direct it for all clubs, or I mean, if you need clarification on something, I guess that's fine. But I'll see if anyone, you can raise your hand in the participants tab if you have any questions. I see Rob. You can go ahead, Rob.
Okay, real quick. First of all, I'm really proud of what I see in the work that you all have done. But my question is, if each of you could expand on, as a member of the California Democratic Party's JEDI Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee, I'll ask the question from that frame of reference. How do you feel like your work over the last year has leaned into our JEDI focus, but with the result of expanding the party? So I'll let that's a kind of a question for everyone.
Okay, why don't we go Susan first?
Okay, thank you, Rob, and thank you, Dr. Banerjee and Lee, for your presentations. They were very helpful. We started an equal justice series in 2020 after the murder of George Floyd. And we had speakers on what is racism, how do you talk about racism, to learn ourselves. What is it? What is systemic racism? And that continued through August of 2021, when we had our Equal Justice series on housing discrimination in the 21st century by two wonderful presenters, Rafael Perez, who is a realtor here in town, and Professor Andy Weiss from San Diego State University. So we have been involved in learning, first of all, ourselves. what can we do to better the situation to make Coronado more welcoming for people of color, because we are primarily a white community. That's who live here. We have encouraged members from like Rob to help us. And Rob served on our strategic planning committee and was invaluable. And also at the workshop, which he and Akshay Satish ran for us, because we are in the process of learning and trying to do better to see what we can help the county party and the state party do to make our clubs, our communities more welcoming to people of color. We also had an ad hoc history committee that started with the reading of Sundown Towns. I don't know if you're familiar with that book, but I'm convinced Coronado was, and my committee is too. So we're looking at that, and we're kind of trying to figure out how do we share our knowledge regarding systemic racism with the citizens of Coronado so they understand the reason they're sitting there in the house that they inherited from their veteran Navy dad was because they're white, and Black service members couldn't. And so it just goes on and on and on. And I really think that members of this community of good heart, for the most part, don't really understand what systemic racism is. So we're trying as a club to expand the understanding and sensitivity of the people who live here to make Coronado more welcoming. Now, what we can do to help the county party is we can certainly encourage speakers. We can support candidates who represent the more diverse groups that are in our party, and we are a diverse party. So we're working on it, starting with ourselves, our community, our county, and the state. So we're a work in progress.
All right, thanks, Susan. That was about 3 minutes, which is fine. I didn't, no worries. I didn't.
Did someone say I was a gas bag at the beginning of this too? Is that what you said? It's okay, because
no,
I probably
it's fine.
am.
I didn't like set a timer, but I want to make sure obviously our other two clubs have that same opportunity to respond to this question. So, 3 minutes, but I think for other questions, we'll probably try to keep it to like a minute if we can. But this is also a very important question. So thanks, Rob. And then I'm gonna go to Lee next.
Okay, there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Rob. Nice to meet you telephonically here, or at least visually. Good question. We're largely located in a community that is not predominantly, but has a sizable minority Asian population. And yet we are mostly a white club. We have some African Americans, and we have some Asians, and my wife may be the only Hispanic, I'm not sure. But one of the things we're looking at in the coming year is to expand membership in the club that really represents more completely and accurately the populations of communities that we serve. We did do 2 programs this year. In March, we had Kent Lee talking about anti-Asian American Pacific Islander hate and violence. And then also in August, we had Ania Brown speaking about reimagining the police. And those are issues that we will continue to make prominent in our programming and in our activities going forward. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead then to Indro.
Thank you so much for the question, Rob. So I'm going to answer this like a physiologist would. It is essentially the backbone of our club, and the guts and the arms and the legs and all the parts of the body. One of the things that the API, or the reason why the API Dem Club exists, is that first graph I showed, or the first 2 graphs I showed, is that we as a community are experiencing and have experienced throughout history, the history of this country, systemic and acute spikes of hate and racism, both legislatively through orders like Order 9066 and through incidents like, as small as the club meeting that I was hosting for the API Dems, where someone snuck into the Zoom and drew symbols on the screen using the whiteboard. I really am proud of the work we've done this year. I'm really proud of the fact that we've expanded it to other communities outside of San Diego. I'm proud of the fact that we brought Andy Kim in this year. I'm proud of the fact that our members independently and with the club have gone out and spoke. I'm proud of the Central Committee presentation we did. And I really, again, want to highlight leadership, people like Will. But this is basically the core principle of expanding the party, expanding the API, voice in the party, making it two ways, talking about things like anti-Blackness in the API community, talking about things like our problems with other communities, LGBTQ issues within the community. So our club it's basically a core principle of our club is what the Jedi initiative has talked about. I can't speak enough about it. I mean, I could talk for hours about this, to be honest with you, but I won't, because I'm pretty sure Cody will hit me with something.
No, at least not physically, but no, thank you so much, Indro. And thank you, Rob, for that question. So now I'm going to go ahead. I see a question. I see Michelle's hand raised. If you want to, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hi, this is kind of a softball question, but I just wondered what your clubs are most excited about, looking forward to doing in the upcoming year. One or two events you're planning or focus that you're doing that you're excited about. That's all.
All right, thanks for the question, Michelle. I'm going to go with Lee first, just so we rotate it, and try to, keep it to about a minute if we can. Thank you. Go ahead, Lee.
Okay. Yeah, so this year, being a midterm election year, our primary focus is going to be on both the primary and the general election in November. We will be actively out in the field supporting the candidates endorsed by the party and the club, and we'll be doing everything we can to flip City Council District 6 from red to blue. It's the only red one left. We want to make that the council all blue, and that's primarily it.
All right, thanks, Lee. Indro,
Sure.
if you want to go next.
Yeah, totally. And again, to riff off what Lee just said, well, first off, I'm excited to get out of COVID. Hopefully this ends soon. But the first thing is, again, to Lee's point, we want to work as a club, and we're really excited about the candidate pool we have right now to support and elect progressive API candidates and allies to increase both representation and our voices at the table. That is one of the club's principles. That's one of the core values. We're going to be focusing on the midterm. We're going to be focusing on the general event. There's two events that we want to do. We're going to focus hopefully more on voter registration going forward in the next year. Again, expanding the API community, getting more of those MPPs to become Democrats, getting more of those people registered and in the rolls. And then finally, and this is a little bit of an announcement, we're not fully ready to announce yet, but we're going to try to host an API awards dinner at some point this year.
Oh, nice.
We're gonna elevate certain voices, hopefully give out some nice awards named after key leaders like Larry Leong, named after Fred Korematsu and Vincent Chen. Do something really to elevate, and again, just kind of bring the party together and say, hey, look, here's what the API community is experiencing. So those three things, and I'll stop right now.
Thank you. And then Susan.
All right. Our excitement lies around the following. We want to turn Coronado blue. We have an opportunity to elect 2 candidates to our school board. We have one great Democratic candidate already who is the secretary of our club who is running. And we want to find another Dem candidate to run, and we're going to get them elected to help protect our school board and promote equality and diversity in our school board. We also are excited about implementing the wonderful strategic plan regarding diversity and inclusion. And we've already done the president's message in our newsletter. It's now translated into Spanish. We have a cultural events calendar that goes out in our newsletter every month. And we're also very excited about getting the Coronado High School kids registered to vote.
All right, thank you. Okay, and thanks, Michelle, again for that question. I am now going to go to Justin.
Hey everyone, my question is, how do you empower and make space for young Democrats and teenagers and new Democrats in your clubs? How do you make space for power, room, leadership, and equity for them?
Okay, so I'll first, I'm just rotating who goes first, that, fairness or whatever. So Indra, if you want to go first on this one.
Yeah, totally. So Justin, that's an awesome question. It's something I know you and I have discussed. First off, I think what we do over in API is we do make an effort to engage high school students and to really expand the high school base. We have one right now. I'm hoping to have more as we go forward. My biggest goal in the club is to find someone who's young and energetic to replace me. That is one of my big goals, is to basically build someone up who can take my job. And then support. You also have people like Judy Key, who, I could go on for hours about the stuff that she does with Young Dems. I'm looking forward to getting more involved with Young Dems. It's ultimately, I want a redundancy plan where I'm not, in about a year, I'm not here, it's a Young Dem presenting. So that's the goal of the club, is that someone can take my job and then I can be a VP and help in the background.
Awesome. And that was exactly a minute, so thank you. Susan, if you want to go ahead next. Oh, you're muted.
I'm unmuted, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, my term is up in March. So our goal is to get new, young leadership. The best thing we can do is replace ourselves. Our nominating committee was appointed this week. They are under orders to find young, new, dedicated Dems to take over leadership of our club. We are working with the Coronado High School Young Dems and the Democratic Club, and we are working with the high school compost. We're mostly old folks in our club, as our studies showed, but we are seriously connecting with young people and hope to replace ourselves very soon.
All right. Thank you. And then Lee.
Sure. As Susan mentioned, we're a neighborhood club, and I think this is something that is typical of neighborhood clubs. We are largely an older group of people. I've only been president for 2 years, and I'd like to continue on for a couple more, so I'm not eager to replace myself, but it is important to see people coming up, and we need younger people. I think the affinity clubs do a better job of recruiting younger people because I think they're more issue oriented, whereas the older crowd is more community or local oriented. But what we are going to do is we have a couple of younger people who've joined in the last year and try to exploit their talents by reaching out to, we have Miramar College here in the neighborhood. We have several high schools in the neighborhood. And finding out if there are Democratic clubs on campus that we can affiliate with, and then also recruit members to pull them in and maybe even start a young person's a wing of our club. But I think it's critically important that we pull younger people in. I think part of the problem we have in this country now is it's mostly older people who really care about politics. So we need to fix that.
All right, thank you. And I will shameless plug that myself and Johan are available if anyone needs help with working with Young Dems. Yeah, so I next have Steve. I see your hand up. I ask you to unmute. Go ahead. What's your question?
Oh, Okay, hi, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay. This is basically, I don't know, an easy question, but we'll see. Recruiting. I'm curious about your efforts. If you could talk as specifically as you can about recruiting for regular club members, non-white members, minority, people of color, more women, so on and so forth. What are you doing specifically in that to do that? Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Steve. I'm going to go back to Susan to go first. If you need to unmute yourself, Susan.
Yes, I did. Okay, good. Good question, Stephen. Thank you, because growing our membership is important for every club. We meet in a local library and everybody is welcome to come. So by library rules. So we put press releases of our meetings in the local press. So any Democrats who happen to be in town or Republicans who are interested in the program can come. So we encouraged it that way. We have had a coffee in the K's that we did pick up new members because we said to everybody, look around your neighborhood. If you saw any no on recall signs, bring them to the coffee. Tell them we're all together here. And it was a great event. And we did the same thing for the holiday party. We had 77. We said, bring your friends. You know who your friends are. You know who supports our values. So it's really a club-wide effort, and everybody needs to be involved to bring in new people.
Great. Perfect timing. Lee?
We grew, despite the pandemic, we managed to grow our club membership by about 34% this past year. But I think that was mostly word of mouth. I think people bringing their friends in and encouraging them to join. Once we're able to get out in the street and meet people, shake hands and chat while breathing on each other, we will reach out, as I said earlier, to Miramar College, the local high schools, to try to pull in more younger people. I'm not sure how we tackle the ethnicity issue, and that is one that we're facing here. We'd love to have larger participation by African Americans, by Hispanics, by Asian American, Pacific Islanders. Kent Lee is a member of the club. Maybe he could help us with that. We've had a couple discussions along those lines. But that is something that is a goal for the year coming. We want to work on that. San Diego is a horribly segregated town. It's unbelievable that this is California and the city is divided up the way it is. It's unbelievable. I lived in Riverside for years, which is a much more thoroughly integrated city than this place. But that's it. That's
all right. Thank you, Lee. Indra?
Okay, no problem. Thanks, Freddie. Thanks for the question. So it's actually been, again, another core thing with the club. I'm proud to say we did grow 38 members this year. Kind of wanted that to be close to 100, but sometimes you set a goal and you kind of come close to it and you see what you can do. But a lot of it's been engaging the community. So going to other API organizations, if you're talking about the API folks, to say, hey, we're the API Dem Club. Here's what our values are. Getting that 2-minute to elevator pitch that you can give to folks. Second thing is going internal with the clubs. And Lee, if you ever need help with the API engagement, let's talk. Let's absolutely talk and work together. We're here for you. It's other things like talking to individual members, going to different organizations, living the values that you as a club want to put out into the world, and then gathering people up that way. And I think that's going to be the principle going forward. Again, Lee, I'm going to steal your idea about going to college campuses, because I think that's awesome. And yeah.
It was hardly an original idea.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Okay, with that, I don't think I see any other hands raised. So I'm gonna close this portion out because it is, getting a little late into the meeting. So again, I just want to thank all three of these clubs for presenting today. You all have done fantastic work. I'm really pleased to see it. I really hope a lot of the other clubs on here felt inspired by a lot of the work that they've done and can kind of take some of that moving forward as ideas for their club. And I know there's already been offers of collaborating and such, so I think that's really great. So the next thing we're gonna do is, I don't know if folks remember, I did this last year. It seemed to work great. I'm gonna do a Google form ballot, and we are gonna try to do ranked choice here because obviously they're all great, but we need to just, you know, mark a preference. I did leave Progressive Democrats on here. They were nominated. It seems like maybe they weren't able to participate, but you can, you know, do what you will with that. And just a reminder here, it is one vote per club. So either it should be the club president, or if, you know, the club president appointed someone else from their club to be here today, then you should be voting on behalf of your club. This, you know, no endorsement rules or anything like that, so you don't have to worry. Just, you know, do whatever you want to do with this. I'm going to put the link in the chat and give folks a few minutes. If anyone's not familiar with ranked choice voting, just basically say like, who's your first choice, you know, your favorite, your second favorite, etc. And if you're not able to fill out a ballot, I will call on you and we can get that sorted out. So give me 1 second to copy the link here, and I will put it in the chat. And I'll give folks a few minutes to fill that out. If you're not sure if you should be voting right now or not, if you're the only member of your club on the meeting, it's probably you. It's not really up to me to decide. You can check with your club president or check with whoever else is on. If I see more than one result, then we can clarify, you know, and remove one. So with that being said, link in the chat, have at it. And
Cody, I do not see the link. Oh, yes, I do, but Michelle has her hand up.
yeah, no, I was about to call on her. I just wanted to, well, you know, that way folks can get going on their form. And Michelle?
Yeah, no, I understood that. Do you want me to text you? Obviously I can't access it in the chat.
Yeah.
I was hoping we were gonna have a regular poll on the phone.
Well, you can text me, or if you want to just say it right now, whichever you prefer, and I can fill that out for you.
I'm gonna do the text.
Okay, sounds good. And Michelle, are you voting on behalf of Dems for Equality?
Exactly, because Ryan D is Young Dems and Ryan Trabuco is Claremont.
Perfect, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I double checked with them also. Thank you. You always run everything super fairly and I love it.
Thanks, I try.
And you know I don't give false compliments.
All right. I see 21, 22 responses already. This is great. Oops. I'm getting some questions. So again, just clarify, it's one club, one vote. So if you're the club president, probably you. If someone else, you know, if your club president asks you to attend in their place, then that would be you. If there are multiple people on the meeting right now and you're not sure, I would, you know, try to communicate with each other and just figure out. If I see the results that there are two from the same club, oh, I'm sorry, I like messed up the form. Ignore where it said Dems for Equality. I'm gonna put back where it said club name. Sorry. What was I saying? Oh yeah, if there are, you know, two responses from the same club, then I will, you know, go ahead and we can sort that out. But yeah, it'd be great if folks can just like make sure beforehand. And Michelle, I don't think I've gotten your text yet, so I just want to make sure if you're still
Right
working.
now, I just sent it.
Okay, so it probably just needs a second to go there. Is anyone having issues with the form? You can raise your hand and we can figure that out.
Cody, did you send two different forms?
No,
Huh.
I don't think so. It's just the
Okay.
one that's like forms.gle/DKG.
Did you get one for me?
Give me 1 second and I'll
Okay.
confirm. I'm just trying to okay, I see Michelle's. Give me 1 second.
I learned how to skip a line on the text.
Okay. Okay, now let's see. I do see one from you, Susan, so you are
Thank
good.
you. Okay.
Um,
I won't vote twice.
is anyone still working on theirs? Please raise your hand. If you're still working on it, I have 29 responses. I'm not sure how many I should be looking for, so. Okay. With that, I will then close the responses. Let's see, how do I do that? I know there's somewhere in here to close out. Where is this? Someone help me out. Indra, do you know? Like, there's a way to like close taking responses, and I'm like not finding it right now.
Oh, over in a Google
Oh, never
Doc?
mind. I found it. I got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay, cool.
Yes.
No worries.
Thank you, though. Okay, we are done accepting responses. So I'm going to go ahead and just let you guys, you can all see my screen while I sort this out. So first, I'm making sure we don't have any duplicates of clubs here. I know some folks messaged me saying to discount theirs, so let's see. Okay, and I know Chris said Michelle was doing it, so I'm gonna delete his, or I'm gonna cross it out. Okay. We have 2 for Hidden Valley, so I want to confirm if Bob or Elias are voting on behalf of the club. Give me a second. Hold on, folks. Sorry, this is hard to do when I'm sharing my screen. Give me a second. Okay. Hold on. Okay. I do see a hand from Liz and Wayne, but I just wanted to check back in with if Bob or is there or
Yes, I'm here, and yeah, there was a miscommunication between me and Elias. So count my vote and discount his, please.
okay, thank you.
Sorry for that.
No worries. Okay, some of these are written as slightly differently. I do see, and Lori said to count Luana's for the Democratic Women's Club, so I'm gonna delete that, and just so that this is, just so that we see these next to each other. I don't think I see any other duplicates. And then Liz or Wayne, you had a question?
Yes, Cody, but I don't need to ask that question any longer. So ignore the hand.
Okay, got it. So if someone feels that I'm missing a duplicate, let me know, but I think we got them all here. Okay, so next step is I'm going to sort the sheet by first choice. So actually, I'm just gonna just for clarity's sake, I'm gonna move these. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna just move these here, or maybe not. There we go. Okay. So okay, so going off of first choice votes, we have 13 for API and 12 for Coronado. So actually, we don't really need to go any further down. It's very close, but yeah, 13 for the API Democratic Club would be the winners. So Andrew looks surprised.
I'm highly caffeinated right now, Cody. I have to apologize.
No worries. So yeah, with that being said, Indro, and well, first, again, I want to thank all three of these clubs because you all did really great. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this presentation, and I really hope a lot of clubs will learn from what you've presented. But with that being said, I want to congratulate Indro and the API Democratic Club for winning this year's Club of the Year. Yay.
Thank you so much to the council clubs. Cody, thank you so much. Susan Lee, I want to contact you both because I really think there's a lot of things that we can collaborate on, and I learned so much from your presentations. I think the three of us together can be kind of a force for really a bunch of good things. So let's get together and like have a cup of coffee virtually.
Absolutely. You
Sounds
bet.
good.
And
Congratulations.
congratulations. Well deserved.
Thank you so much to everyone. Again, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, we're all in this together.
Absolutely. This is a family as far as
Yes,
I'm
it is.
concerned. Family needs to have each other's back. So
Yeah.
we're all here.
All right. Well, so I guess that makes us done with this portion of today's meeting. I feel like, oh yeah, so I guess, yeah, I pretty much went over all the announcements and reminders I had. Let me, kind of unspotlight everyone here. But I'm going to go ahead and allow for announcements, just general announcements. I'm going to do 1 minute each. I'm going to pull a timer up and share my screen as I normally do, so folks can see that. Yeah, so let's see, share screen. 1 minute. The first person I see is Jeannie Schmikowski. So if you would like to go, I've asked you to unmute.
Thank you for having me. I'd like to talk about District Number 2 in the San Diego City Council. It's very, very important that all of you maintain an open mind outside of political correctness and what your party leaders tell you to do. There are many, many fine people running for that seat, and they should all be held on their merit. MERIT, their merit, not because they're an important person or they're endorsed by important people. Look at everyone equally, go against the grain, do something different, be bold. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I see in the participants tab, Dr. Lawana Richmond. I'm asking you to unmute, and whenever you're ready.
Hi, everybody. I'll keep this really brief. I just want to remind everyone who is a member of the Democratic Women's Club to be at the meeting on Monday, because we'll be accepting nominations. We have executive officer positions up, and we'd really like to make sure that we're being as inclusive as possible as we're accepting those nominations to decide who's going to lead the club in the next year. That's all.
Thank you so much. And just reminding folks, if you have your video on, I'll try to spotlight you. If not, the spotlight only works for video for some reason. So lower your hand, and then I see Lori next, asking you to unmute, and whenever you're ready.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. And a very impressive presentation by all the clubs that were nominated. Congratulations on such a successful year. I wanted, I wanted to let the club know I am engaging in the process for the District 2 endorsement with the different clubs. And I am a late entry. I did not come in as early as many people who were originally in a district that got redrawn. But when the District 2 lines were redrawn, it turned out that my lifetime home of Claremont got drawn into the new District 2. And I've been having conversations with many, many people since then, and I've decided to begin the process of being a candidate for District 2. So again, congratulations on all the clubs for your excellent work this year, and I look forward to talking with you more and seeing you in the process in the weeks ahead. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's see. Next, I have Michelle. Whenever you're ready, you're already unmuted.
Thank you. This is just a reminder to all the club presidents that this is relevant to. Please, please, please get me your names for your club reps for the February 12th pre-endorsement for the CDP by the 17th. Today is the 15th, so 2 more days so that I can make sure that they're in and confirmed by the 18th. And also for clubs that want to, remind your actual members, if they are CDP delegates, the convention registration is open. And they can do that on condemn.org, and they do have to pay their fees by the February 12th in order, actually, I believe it's February 9th. They did the cutoff for paying the fees to be able to have your vote counted in the pre-endorsement. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Michelle. I'm gonna lower your hand. Next, I have Kent. Whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Cody. Good afternoon, everyone. Great to see all of you again. My name is Kent Lee, running for San Diego City Council to represent District 6. As some of you might recall, my wife and I are 15-year residents of Mira Mesa. We're raising our 4- and 2-year-olds here, Alina and Oliver. My background specifically rooted in service to the community, serving as the executive director of Pacific Arts Movement, which helps to present the San Diego Asian Film Festival. I'm also a board member of the Mira Mesa Community Planning Group on UC San Diego's Chancellor's Community Advisory Board, as well as a founder and co-chair of the San Diego Asian Pacific Islander Coalition. I'm running really to ensure that our city centers a lens of equity as part of our recovery and path ahead. I've also acknowledged priorities in developing more affordable and middle-income housing, strategic infrastructure and transit improvements, as well as small business economic empowerment. Proud to be supported by Council President Shanila Rivera, Council President Pro Tem Monica Montgomery Stepp, Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins, many others, and certainly look forward to consideration in the clubs ahead. Again, my name is Kent Lee, running for San Diego City Council in District 6. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, I have Bill. Whenever you're ready.
Please excuse the disingenuousness of this announcement, but I just wanted to indicate I did not vote for a favored Club of the Year simply because of the mildly, I admit, derogatory references to old people and how they should be replaced by young people. I think we need to work on the rhetoric about that to prevent ageism from creeping into our discussions. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next I have Kate. Whenever you're ready.
Hi, thanks. I just wanted to speak on behalf of school board members everywhere in the county and say, if you know any school board members, reach out to them and give some love to them, because we're all going through a lot right now. Our students are coming back to school, and the state of California has basically made it fiscally impossible for us to close schools again without major, huge swaths of schools needing to be closed based on quarantining classrooms. So if you know any school board members, please treat them with grace and give them a little extra love this week. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, that appears to be it. Any other? Oh yeah, Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, let me start my clock because I don't want to go over. But just so you know, those who don't know me, Rob Howard, I'm with the California Democratic Party's JEDI committee. I've been working on some of the clubs and the JEDI plans and trainings. I focus on club leaders because the culture has to change through the leaders. And what I wanted to, and so that was the one announcement. The next thing is today, for those, just a reminder, Dr. King would have been 93 years old today. His focus at that time, if we were to name it today, it's really justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And I just want to share with us one message. We need to be focused on voting rights. If you're worried about a woman's right to choose, it's not going to happen if we don't have voting rights. If you want to protect the rights of workers, it's not going to happen if we don't have voting rights. You care about gun safety, won't happen without voting rights. If you care about the climate change and saving the earth, it's not going to happen if we don't have voting rights. So I ask you, whether you're progressive, whether you're moderate, whatever it is, no matter what we do, we need to focus on voting rights. And so I leave you with how I view this whole JEDI mission. Diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. Equity is being able to contribute to the playlist. Justice, that's what love looks like in public. And Cody, I apologize for going over.
No worries, Rob. Thank you for that. Do we have any other announcements? I see a check mark from Johan. I don't know if that was from earlier or you had something. Also,
Sorry, that was from earlier.
Okay, no worries. Also, I realized I forgot to make you co-host. Sorry. Okay, well, I think with that being said, we are done. And now I don't see where. Whoa, that's weird. My Zoom controls went away. Okay, there we go. Okay. Well, that is it for today, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you again to all of our great presenters. Congratulations to the API Dems. And again, just a reminder, because I get a lot of questions on this, the slides will, for at least my portion of the presentation, will be, you'll be able to access those as well as a recording of this meeting once I get a chance to get it up, but you can see all of our past slides and recordings online using that Linktree link. And yeah, so, and if you have any, any questions or anything, email clubs@sddemocrats.org, myself, staff, or whoever will answer them. And that's it. So thanks everyone. We're gonna go ahead and move into our club development committee meeting after this. Maybe take a few minute break and see y'all later.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
See you
Thanks,
soon.
Cody. And congratulations to the AAPI Club.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you
Great
so
job.
much. And again, to Coronado Black Mountain, I learned so much. This was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful event.
Yeah, well, we all got a lot of good ideas that we can use going forward for sure. Absolutely.
And I
It
got
was
your
a
number.
very
We'll-
tough vote. It was a
Yeah.
very tough vote.
Call
And
me.
I wanted, on behalf of the Democratic Education Alliance, I want to thank both Indro and Susan for your excellent panels that you have done with us in the last year. Thank you so much for
Well,
both of you.
thank you, Kate, for what you're doing to protect our school boards. It's really, really critical.
Absolutely, Kate.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for standing that line. And I always say, my mom says hi.
I love your mom. I want to put her in my pocket and take her home. All right.
Bye-bye,
Thanks, everybody.
everybody.
See you later.
Thanks. Bye.